Have you ever noticed that no matter how much you earn, spend, or save, there's always that quiet voice whispering, "It's not enough"? Maybe you've landed the promotion, bought the thing, reached the milestone, and still, you feel strangely empty. You tell yourself it's about security, freedom, stability. But deep down, it's about something else entirely. Money, for most of us, isn't about numbers. It's about control. Control over time, over fear, over the unpredictable chaos of life. We don't chase wealth, we chase peace. And yet, the more we run after it, the further peace seems to drift. The illusion of intelligence. We like to believe success with money comes from intelligence, from knowing what to invest in, which stock to pick, or how to time the market. But history tells a different story. 2 men, 2 lives. Ronald Read, a janitor who quietly died with $8 million. Richard Fosconi, a Harvard-educated executive who lost everything. One was patient, the other was greedy. One played the long game, the other believed he was the game. It's not brilliance that builds wealth, it's behavior. The discipline to delay gratification, the humility to stay consistent. A genius who loses control of his emotions will destroy more wealth than a fool who never panics. Plato once warned that the first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. The same is true in finance. Until you master your impulses, envy, fear, impatience, you will remain a slave, no matter your net worth. 2. No one's crazy. The way you think about money isn't wrong. It's yours. It was shaped by what you've lived through. If you grew up watching your parents struggle with debt, you'll see saving as safety. If you were raised in abundance, you might see risk as opportunity. Each of us carries a personal map of money, drawn by our experiences, and every map is incomplete. That's why one person invests fearlessly, while another hoards cash under the mattress. We're not irrational, we're emotional historians. We mistake what happened to us for what happens to everyone. Nietzsche once said, "There are no facts, only interpretations." The same applies to finance. You think you're managing your portfolio, but you're really managing your story. Your fear of repeating your past. Your longing for a future that feels safe. So before judging anyone's financial choices, even your own, remember, no one's crazy. We're all just guessing, with different memories. 3. Luck, risk, and the myth of merit. We love stories of success. They make the world feel fair. But behind every fortune lies a web of luck, timing, and chance too complex to untangle. Bill Gates had access to one of the few computers in the world when he was 13. His friend Kent Evans, equally brilliant, died before graduation. Luck, risk, 2 sides of the same coin. When we ignore luck, we become arrogant. When we ignore risk, we become reckless. The truth lives in between. You can do everything right and still fail. You can do everything wrong and still win. Bonhoeffer wrote from prison, "It is not the genius but the man of character who can withstand fate." Financial success isn't a moral victory. It's often a cosmic coincidence. Humility is the only rational response to randomness. IV. The secret power of time. If you want to understand the true psychology of money, look at Warren Buffett. Not because he's rich, but because he's patient. Almost all his wealth came after he turned 50. Not from magic, but from compounding, the quiet miracle that rewards those who survive. Buffett once said the key to wealth isn't being smart, it's being rational long enough for math to do its magic. In other words, stay in the game. Don't chase, don't panic, don't quit. Compounding doesn't just multiply money, it multiplies mistakes. The longer you endure, the more your patience becomes your greatest investment. In the words of Machiavelli, fortune is a woman. To be mastered, she must be treated with boldness. But boldness without endurance is suicide. The market doesn't reward the clever, it rewards the consistent. V. The goalpost problem. Why do the richest people in the world still feel poor? Because they've lost the ability to say, enough. Enough is not a number, it's a decision. But in a culture that worships growth, stopping feels like failure. The moment you achieve something, your expectations rise. The game resets, the scoreboard expands. Gupta had $100 million but wanted to be a billionaire. Madoff had success but craved significance. Both lost everything, not because they were stupid, but because they couldn't stop climbing. There's no finish line when the track is built on comparison. And comparison, as the Stoics warned, is a trap of the ego. Seneca wrote, "He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have." True wealth is the ability to stop chasing and start living. 6. Time, the ultimate currency. Why do we want money in the first place? For most, it's not about the luxury. It's about freedom. Freedom to say no, to rest, to choose. A few dollars buy you a sick day. A few thousand buy you breathing room. A few million buy you time. The only currency that never devalues. But there's a trap. If your wealth gives you no control over your time, you're still poor. If you wake up every day doing something you hate for a number that keeps changing, you're still in chains. Golden ones, but chains nonetheless. In our pursuit of money, we often sell the very thing we hope to buy back later, our time. We forget that life isn't meant to be optimized like a spreadsheet. It's meant to be lived. 7th, the wealth you don't see. When you see someone driving a luxury car, you rarely think that person is admirable. You think, if I had that car, people would admire me. That's the man in the car paradox, the delusion that money buys respect. Real wealth is invisible. It's the quiet power to wake up and do what you want. It's not the mansion, it's the margin. Not the brand, it's the buffer, the rich flaunt, the wealthy wait. Because wealth isn't about having, it's about not needing. Be 8th, the soft skills of survival. There are 3 invisible traits that separate the financially free from the financially trapped. 1. Frugality. Not cheapness, but the strength to say no. 2. Reasonableness. Not perfect math, but peace of mind. 3. Margin. The space between what you can do and what you should do. Saving isn't glamorous, but it's freedom disguised as discipline. Rational people chase returns. Reasonable people chase endurance. And endurance is the only strategy that always wins, because you can compound what you've done, survive. Benjamin Graham said, "The purpose of the margin of safety is to render the forecast unnecessary." You don't need to predict the future. You just need to stay alive long enough to see it. 9. The price of admission. Everything valuable comes with a cost. In the market, the cost isn't money. It's volatility, uncertainty, fear. The pain of watching your investments fall. The regret of missing out. The doubt of not knowing. Most people try to dodge that price, but every shortcut is a hidden toll road. The irony? Those who embrace the cost end up paying less. Treat market volatility like a fee, not a fine. A fine is punishment. A fee is a price worth paying. If you can endure discomfort longer than others, you win. Not because you're smarter, but because you're calmer. X. The paradox of progress. We live in the wealthiest era in human history, yet anxiety about money is higher than ever. Why? Because we've replaced gratitude with comparison, contentment with consumption. We no longer measure success by what we have, but by what others post. Pessimism sounds smart because it's dramatic. Optimism sounds naive because it's quiet. But history favors the optimists, the ones who believed the future could be better even when the present wasn't. The Stoics, the Buddhists, the philosophers, they all converge on one truth. You don't control the world, only your response to it. Money doesn't give meaning. It amplifies the one you already have. Backing. The final lesson. At its core, the psychology of money isn't about wealth. It's about wisdom. It's about learning to live below your ego and above your fear. It's realizing that financial freedom isn't earned, it's understood. The richest people aren't those with the most money. They're the ones who've made peace with enough. They've learned to say, I already have what I was chasing. So the next time you feel that whisper, just a little more, remember, you don't need to outsmart the market. You need to outsmart yourself. Because the true currency of life isn't money, it's time. And how you spend it will always say more about your wealth than your wallet ever could.